Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members-only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it, and let's break down the standard. Welcome to Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's B.E.S.T standards for math. So grab something to write with and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go, I see you. And let's dive into today's B.E.S.T standard. Hey everybody and welcome. My name is Sarah McCarthy. I'm the creator of McCarthy Math Academy, and I'm so excited that you are joining me on this episode where today we're going to break down the following standard. We're working on MA.5.NSO.1.2. MA stands for math, 5 for 5th grade, NSO for number sense and operations. The 1 means that we're working in our place value standard, and we're on the second one for that. So let's jump into it. This standard says to read and write multi-digit numbers with decimals to the thousandths. So if we are thinking about decimals, we've got our decimal right there, and we'll have to read and write numbers going to not the tenths, not the hundredths, but all the way to the thousandths place using standard form, word form, and expanded form. So the 3 forms: standard form, word form, and expanded form. So standard form, in the example they show you, standard form is the regular way that you would write a number, just grouping your digits together. And then word form is taking the standard form and writing it in words. So this is 67 and 3/100ths. And then for expanded form, we have a couple ways. We could just take the value of each digit. The 6 has a value of 60, the 7 has a value of 7, and the 3 has a value of 3/100ths. Or taking each of the digits and multiplying it by the place that it's in. So the 6 is in the tens place, the 7 is in the ones place, and the 3 is in the hundredths place. And students will be required to know how to do both ways, how to write it both ways in expanded form. So we've got a lot of related benchmarks in 5th grade that relate to this. That's because this is a heavy place value standard. We're learning how to read and write numbers with decimals, and because of that, we have a lot of work with decimals this year in 5th grade. So for instance, some of the ones that, oh, by the way, this document that I'm writing all over is a document provided by the Florida Department of Education, and I did not create this. I'm just showing you how I use the resources that Florida gives us, and then how I think through things, just to help you hopefully get a better understanding of what is required with the standard. So this next section that they've provided is the related benchmarks and horizontal alignment. NSO.2.4 in 5th grade is exploring multiplication and division with decimal numbers. Then 2.5 is where we're multiplying and dividing by 1/10 and 1/100th. So all of these things build on each other. AR 2.1 is numerical expressions into mathematical descriptions and vice versa. 2.3 is where we're working with our order of operations. Did I just say 2.3? I'm sorry, I meant 2.2. And then 2.3 is where we're working with true and false equations using the order of operations. So, and then they've placed here this 5.M.2.1, which is multi-step word problems with money. Now, I think there are a lot more standards that actually align with this one today. There's a couple there, but I like to know where they're coming from. They're coming from 4th grade right here. 4.NSO.1.2, which is where they were required to read and write numbers to the 1 million mark. So your students should have seen and should have practiced writing standard form, word form, and expanded form. This is just their first experience using a decimal. Actually, that is not true. Hang on, let me clarify. This is the first time where they have a standard specific to reading and writing numbers with decimals. They should have done decimal work last year in 4th grade. As of recording this video, this is the first year that we're implementing the B.E.S.T standards for 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So just know that Common Core wise from last year, if depending on when you're watching this, when we had the Common Core standards, there were standards that had exposure to decimal numbers. It's not their first time seeing a decimal, but it's their first time with this standard to read and write decimals in this way. And then in 6th grade, they've provided the standard of translating written descriptions into algebraic expressions, going that way, and then also going back, having algebraic expressions and translating them into written descriptions. Cool. So I did place a little star there because in 4th grade, this standard is very similar, just again, we're bumping it into the decimal to the thousandths. This is the purpose and instructional strategy section of this document, and there were a few things that kind of just jumped out at me, so I'll explain that. So again, we're going to the tenths, hundredths, all the way to the thousandths place. Woo! Here, I like this right here. It says, writing numbers in expanded form can help students see the relationships between decimals and fractions. This is awesome, and this is very true because this year we will be multiplying numbers by decimals and by fractions and seeing how when those decimals and fractions are less than 1 whole, it actually changes the way students are typically exposed to them. We'll jump into that more as we get into some of the other standards that really hit that. But just know that this really does build on other standards for sure this year. We're focusing on representing numbers flexible ways, which will help students name, order, compare, and operate with decimals. This is coming up in our other standards coming up. And it says, during instruction, teachers should relate all 3 forms using place value charts and base 10 manipulatives. And I've started this because we will definitely be using place value charts when we are working with these 3 forms of numbers. And if you do number talks in your room, or if you have not yet, a standard like this is a great way to have students talking about numbers. You could pose, for instance, you could pose the number 2 and 597 thousandths and say, how many different ways can we represent this number? There's so many different ways. You can write this. Well, this is written in standard form. We could identify that that is standard form. We could write it in word form. We could write it in the 2 ways for expanded form. We could decompose this number to be 25 tenths and 97 thousandths. We could decompose this number to be 2 wholes plus 5 tenths plus 9 hundredths plus 7 thousandths. It's just a really great standard to start incorporating for number talks, where your students can learn from each other. It's awesome. A lot of times students they might need some help, just like in earlier years, if one of the digits is 0. And also something that I've noticed as far as a common misconception that students might have is they're so used to there being the ones place, the tens place, the hundreds place. They're so used to right at the decimal having that ones place come first that they tend to think that the tenths place is right here, which is wrong, and that the hundredths place is next to it, which is wrong. They tend to skip and just kind of leave that tenth spot open. Understanding with this standard that students might forget, oh, this right here, that is the tenths place, and then next to it is the hundredths place, will really start to help. Let me see. This was a good version of a task, and this is an example of an instructional item that you might see right down there. So you can see they've given it an expanded form here, and now they have to identify the word form. I think that's a pretty basic question for the type of standard that we've got. Alrighty, so on the website here at McCarthy Math Academy, you can go right here to where it says members enter here, or the tab up top. Both will take you to the same place. Taking on the B.E.S.T. All right, and then which grade would we like to explore? 5th grade, right? We're working on the NSO standard. strand, sorry, and we are on 5.NSO.1.2, reading and writing numbers. So with the bronze level of the membership, you get access to the videos under the standard and the printable guide. For this one, there's one video available that just hits everything. Reading and writing numbers with decimals. Woo! I'm gonna stop that right there. You can full screen it. That's a great face. Do you know what the best version of you looks like? And then there's a printable guide right here. Reading and writing numbers with decimals. And you can see here with expanded form, we'll do this form that looks like this, the strategy number 1, and then the other one with the digit times whatever place it's in there. So super awesome. So this 11-minute video goes through all 3 forms of those numbers that you need. And then if you have the silver plan, you have access to even more. So let me show you what you've got access to there. You have a lot more printables, the answer keys that go with those printables, and this extra math misconception mystery video. I'll explain that in just a second, but that's where it's located. So if you click on printables and have them download, you can see this was the video lesson. So everything that was in the bronze is also right here too, packaged together. It makes it easier for you to print. And this is the video lesson. And then after you finish the video lesson, you have extra practice, which is very similar to what we just did in the video lesson. There's 2 pages of extra practice and 3 pages of extra practice. So 1 video lesson, 3 pages of extra practice. And then you have a math mission here. I love the math missions because these are the math tasks. It's taking the entire standard and giving your students the opportunity to challenge their thinking and think through these multi-part problems that they have to work with. So for instance, for this one, it says, Taylor has written a mysterious number on a piece of paper. Guess her number using the clues below. So the digit in the ones place is 1 less than the digit in the thousandths place. So you can see there we're creating the standard form of this digit using the clues. And then we're writing Taylor's number in word form, and finally writing Taylor's number in expanded form. And it doesn't state which form to write it in, so they can choose which one they want to, or include both of them. And then for the math misconception mystery episode, this is an episode where I walk you through the entire process of this. So you just play the video and pause it where it says to. The students will first solve the problem on their own or with their group. You can choose which one you want to do there, but it says write 832 and 66 hundredths in expanded form. So they'll solve that. And then they'll watch 4 characters solve that same problem. Those characters are really just me dressed up in silly costumes. 3 of those characters will make a mistake that students commonly make, and only one has the most reasonable answer. Once they've watched all 4 characters, they'll fill out their detective report, which is this page, and write out who has the most reasonable answer and why, and then take a look at the other 3 characters. What did those characters do that was correct? What was their main error, and what do they need to know for next time? So they're just jotting down the report. It's super fun. Students love it, and it gives them a chance to be silly, but also to think critically and analyze errors. Also, your answer keys are right there. If you have the gold plan, you click here for the resources. You can go back to those bronze video lessons or the silver printables and math misconception mystery at any time, but your gold level resources include a mini assessment, the answer key, the breaking down the best, this video ad-free. It is available on other platforms like YouTube. When you are a gold member, you get the perk of not having the ads that go with it. And McCarthy Math 155, which I'll show you in just a second. So click here for the mini assessment. I'll just show you real quick. We've got a multiple choice, a multi-select, one where they record the number, multiple choice again, and then an explanation of whether or not they agree. So just a quick assessment. I know that you probably have assessments that are provided by your district, but this just gives you another example for practice. I didn't mean to click on that again. And then McCarthy Math 155. It is a program that I created that was aligned to the Common Core standards. And as I was analyzing the B.E.S.T standards, I was like, well, 155 is not going to fully support you. Let me make something brand new. But I had a lot of teachers and school leaders asking me if they could also use 155. So if you have the goal plan, you have access to this as well. And here, if you go to, you can see these are the different units and how many video lessons are underneath inside of it. But if we go right here to Unit 4, I'll show you why. Hang on. Right here at Unit 4, it says read and write numbers with decimals. Jam! Okay, identifying place value with decimals, reading, writing numbers with decimals. We're really taking more time to break it down and practice. Going from standard form to word form, going from standard form to word form. Standard form to expanded forms A and B. Those are the two different expanded forms that are also in the B.E.S.T standards too. So there's lots of practice for this standard if you have access to McCarthy Math 155 as well. So that's it for the resources under your memberships. I hope that this video helped you. And before we go, I want to remind you that what you choose to do every single day with your life, it really does matter. I know that this profession is exhausting and it's very stressful and challenging at times, but we also have the opportunity to significantly impact the lives of our students. Even though we might not know or get to see if we really do impact them, we have to trust that what we're doing is making a difference. So thank you for everything that you do. I hope that you are also taking time to take care of yourself and your needs. Yeah, put your own oxygen mask on first if you're going to go out there and change the world, right? But thank you for all that you do. I'm so thrilled to be here to support you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye. Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm gonna ask you to do one more thing, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now. Bye.